That
people.
sounds good.
But I think you're next.
But you're.
That's good, that's good.
Okay.
Thanks a lot for coming out, y'all, even if there's differences. It's important that we all talk, obviously. Unfortunately, the feeling I get seeing your presentations, hearing you talk, it's that expression, don't spit in my face and tell me it's raining. You've talked about passing an ordinance if the community really believes in something. You've talked about writing a letter to the judge. You talked about bias-free policing, community engagement, all of which were part of the original issue that we brought to David's attention at the last community meeting, where he promised us to follow up, and we have not heard a follow-up yet. We have not heard a follow-up from anybody in your office. So David's clearly not willing to follow through on his word, so let me ask my question to you, Jonathan. I was a little confused why you thought it would be appropriate for coworkers where one is being accused of conflicts of interest and corruption to unilaterally deny those claims without having gotten DOJ or city statements, a waiver as required by paragraph 464 of the consent decree. Recently, it came to my attention that you also have a history of starting organizations and working with police officers. Name police officers that you once monitored. It was even up on that presentation, ABLE,
yeah.
where you have hired former NOPD employees.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. Who runs ABLE and where did she work before?
Look, do you want to wait till you're
Yeah,
done?
it's just one more
That's fine,
sentence.
that's fine.
Michael Harrison is also on the board of ABLE. Michael Harrison is actively employed, working in partnership with NOPD on the very same program that we have a problem with. So you are both working actively with a former NOPD chief who is in charge of the consent decree. You're currently reviewing his policies, and he is currently actively advising a program that's illegal under an ordinance that the community passed that you guys are ignoring. So I would like to know that in your position as leadership, even if you're not going to do any more consent decrees, if you think that's the right precedent to be setting for your people that report to you, if you think that's the right culture for consent decrees nationally, to have this insidious, incestuous relationship with the people that they're supposed to be holding accountable.
Absolutely.
So may I, on the ABLE piece, it's not my program, I am a pro bono advisor.
Did you start it?
I was one of the many people
You're
that
a co-founder of ABLE.
At least let me.
You're spitting
let
in
me
my
respond.
face again.
No.
You co-founded ABLE.
Okay. Just let me respond and then you can respond as well, okay? I was one of several people that wanted to bring active bystandership across the country as a very good thing to help people. And I am the pro bono advisor. I was one of the co-founders. I do not get paid. I do not have a management role. It's a Georgetown program. I think it's a wonderful program to help people. And there are multiple police officers that I don't control that teach active bystandership around the country. I am a pro bono advisor. I will not at all run away from that. I think it is a program that is going to help reform policing across the U.S.
So if David is directly paying cops, that's different.
So on the ELEFA side, David also started a program, and as I said last night, I do not see the conflict, but I'm not the decision maker.
But you said that the important factor was if you're paying or not, and there's a payment piece here, so I'm trying to understand the logic about what makes a conflict.
I told you,
Because
I'm
according to
giving you,
464, none of what you're saying is there.
I'm giving you the facts of ABLE, so you'll have the facts. With respect to ELEFA, which frankly I know less about, but I will be learning a lot more now because you all have made it very clear.
But you're his manager, why didn't you
Let
look
me
at
be
this
clear,
proactively?
if you don't know, I'm gonna tell everybody in the room the story, y'all can decide. Let me just tell you.
Why does it take getting to this point for you guys to respond to us? Why can't we
We
get
have
written
been
response?
responding. You don't like the answer.
Have we gotten a written response from you, a meeting? When have you answered me?
You don't like the plane.
Let me just talk about my work with ELEFA, because I want people to understand the facts and they can make a decision. I understand I may not convince you, but let's just have a dispute on the facts, based on the facts. I co-founded Effective Law Enforcement for All, actually, with Dr. Burns, and it was largely out of the lessons we learned seeing reform here in New Orleans. And the notion was we could take some of those lessons and we could help communities nationally partner with their police outside of consent decrees, although we're now working in Minneapolis, but we could work to bring the police and the public together to reimagine policing in a way that worked for police and the public. We got grant money to do that, and we have done conferences and we have done unfunded work. You can go to our website. For example, we're building instructional videos to help people understand things like mental health crisis response and support. Because our notion is the police work for the public. So the public really should understand policing so they can be equal partners to achieve policing services that work for the police and the public. That is.
But don't you see how that's kind of a conflict of interest?
Considering, I'm just explaining to you.
Y'all good, let me just help and y'all ask some after, go ahead, David.
So that's what we formed. And we've worked in Montgomery County, Maryland, we've worked in Orlando, Florida. We have.
And when you worked in Montgomery
Excuse
County,
me,
you worked with former
excuse me,
NOPD officers.
Just let me,
Hold on.
lay out
It's
the
just the eyes
facts.
of the
Let me-
misleading and every sentence.
I know, but let David talk.
I think everybody in the room would at least like to hear my side of it.
Actually, I want to speak up on this because you
No,
said my name.
David, won't you
I would
talk?
have really preferred that you spoke about this but not talking about me. I did co-found ELEFA with the David, and I am not affiliated
David,
with
won't
it
you
at
talk?
all anymore. And I agree with the community about the conflict, David. So it makes me uncomfortable for you to insert me and say my name because you know I'm not affiliated, you know why. And I agree with the community. I think it's a great conflict of interest among a lot of other ethical and integrity issues. And so I've not spoken on this publicly, but you put me in this position by having me in the corner and saying my name. When you know the issues with ELEFA, and you know you don't give a damn
She
about
said put some
Minneapolis
respect
or
on her
the people of
name.
New Orleans. So
Let
don't
me-
put me in this position where now I have to speak on it because we had all these months to talk and you didn't want to talk to me about it. But you're not gonna say my name in my city, in my community. And that shows how little integrity you have. You have none. You have zero. You have zero.
I apologize, Ashley, it was just a fact, I didn't wanna.
Nobody
not give
cares
you
about your
credit.
apologies. It's like you have zero integrity. Like
Wait,
everything
let-
about this is unprofessional and inappropriate.
All
Don't
right.
Wait,
ever
we-
say my
we
name
need-
in a
let's-
professional
We need to be a little respectful here.
All right,
Use my name,
Mark,
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 picture, don't
Mark,
say my
go
name.
ahead with your.
Can I just,
Wait,
What's that?
So we gotta keep moving.
Go ahead,
There's a
Mark.
lot of people want to
can I just say this, though,
Sorry,
look,
let's-
I'm happy after this meeting
Yeah.
to talk to
All
anybody
right.
who
No, we
wants.
wanna hear, we want, everybody
Well,
wants
What
to
is
hear.
almost
Yeah.
30 people.
Right, and a lot of people wanna,
Okay,
their work.
so look, what I'm hearing, I'm Morgan Clodinger. Been doing community work my whole life. And one of the inspirations for that advocacy was when I grew up in the 6th Ward and the French Quarter both. Musicians that lived in the 6th Ward played in the French Quarter. And every night, they walk home to the French Quarter. And I can't tell you the number of times we witnessed our musicians being thrown up against the wall, beat up, their instrument taken, thrown in jail, they lose their gig. That's my history from 14 years old, from intervening in that, okay? Yesterday, I testified at City Council on the police budget and sustainment plan. The plaque on that podium is for Big Chief Tootie Montana, who died in that chamber while I was standing next to him. Because the police in 2005 were harassing our culture bearers. So he died, he gave his life protesting police harassment on the very people that we say we celebrate. So I heard about these PCABs. I got involved. I saw what a failure they were. And I made it my mission to try to turn that around. But what I learned was, it's so deeply dysfunctional. It's so set up to fail. So you cannot say that you've had 12 years to get community engagement right. And now, in 45 days, we're gonna fix it? No. You have a blank page in that sustainment plan for community engagement. That is absurd. That is, if you can't understand the relation between the consent decree and the community, we are gotten nowhere.
Right.
We've gotten nowhere because the consent decree is here because the police's relationship with the community. So if the community is not number one in this and leading this, we have nothing. We have nothing. We have no trust, and what you're seeing is no trust.
Yep.
It's no trust. So people say, well, Morgan, how come when you have a meeting, you got 50 people there? And I'm doing it on my own time and my light bill.
Right.
But I'm paying my taxpayer dollars to all these entities.
Right.
That don't do
The
shit.
police have $160 million. But do they bring a bottle of water? Do they say, oh, well, what can we do? How can we help? But when they have a community meeting, 3 people show up. Because the trust is not there. I'm sorry.
No, all good.
Well, what I have to talk to you about right now is, man, come on. Y'all talking about community engagement. How did anybody know about this meeting? What have you really done to engage the community at the very last minute? I've been asking for this schedule for 30 days since that September 27th filing.
That's right.
30 days have gone by and nobody said boo. And all of a sudden, okay, we got 3 meetings
4
back to
days
back.
before.
How are you letting people know? And Nick, I'm sorry, Deputy Chief, y'all, you've been trying, I agree with you. But same thing, how are we gonna have police community meetings when they're held at the very last minute with nobody engaged, at police stations, no less,
When they
in the
running the
middle
license
of the
plates,
day?
when they
I
running the
mean,
people license plates.
That is a deaf
Gonna arrest
ear.
them to see if they ever want it.
That is a deaf ear to community. Give me a minute now, Mooney, come on.
Well, hey, don't stop. Noon it.
Okay,
Come
so
on, what
the
are
other
you
part
doing?
I wanna say is this. Everything I've heard you say today is, we're not there yet. Room for improvement. We're not there yet. Not quite there yet.
Yep.
Not quite there yet. Not in compliance yet. Not in compliance in small ways. But how significant are those small ways? And I will tell you right now, if you're not in compliance with community engagement, that's huge. That's not small.
Huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And it is the number one driver of this whole thing. So I would say that what we really need to do is not remove the consent decree, extend the time for another year if we're gonna really do robust community engagement. And I'm really, really tired of everybody saying how terrible the PCABs are, but not willing to do a damn thing to fix them. Because it's not the community who's volunteering to do it. If it's failed for 12 years, the entities responsible for setting it up and supporting it and funding it, it's on them.
Absolutely.
Agree with you.
Okay.
I wanna, let's make sure we get the folks in the back who've been
Go
very
ahead.
patient.